everybody. This is Vince Miller. Thank you so much for joining me for today's devotional. We are in Acts chapter 9. I'm going to be reading verses 1 through 2. But Saul, still breathing threats and murder against the disciples of the Lord, went to the high priest and asked for letters to the synagogue at Damascus, so if he found any belonging to the way, men or women, he might bring them bound to Jerusalem. So now at this time, persecution is amping up in the early church, and the localized persecution of Jewish converts in Jerusalem is driving followers to take refuge in these smaller cities across the land. One of these refuge cities was Damascus. And all this is happening because the message of Jesus Christ is increasing and persecution is moving them outward, right? But Saul wants to put an end to this because he considers it blasphemy against God. So he garners an endorsement from the high priest by getting official letters that mandate that he can walk into a local synagogue in the neighboring city of Damascus. And of course, Caiaphus, the high priest, endorses this action. Saul's goal is to find leaders of the heresy as they are proselytizing in these synagogues and bring them back to Jerusalem to be tried. Well, eventually, as persecution escalates, it moves from something that's only verbal to something more aggressive. It may start with attempts to cancel and shame and dismiss, but eventually other tactics must be deployed. When all those other tactics stop working, next come orders and edicts from authorities, usually in the form of propaganda that is used to re-educate and incite fear, forcing peer-to-peer compliance, right? But eventually, when that no longer works, there must come a stage of physical force. And this is what Saul is leveraging here. Now, I know this isn't a very uplifting devotional today, but more uplifting devotionals are coming. And the messages that follow, we will watch as God intervenes in this man's life. And Saul will become one of the greatest stories of conversion to the faith of all time. And therein lies the lesson for today. You see, as our persecution ramps up and we move from one stage to another, we can't give up hope. God can save us from anything and rescue us from any situation. There is nothing that will stop God's message and His plan. And sometimes God uses the most unlikely people to rescue us. Sometimes He chooses a former enemy of the message of Jesus to advance the message of Jesus. So, why not pray with me that God will change the hearts of those that oppose us? Pray that from their ranks come influential men and women of God who will speak up on God's behalf. And then let's watch together as God does something miraculous through our time of persecution. Well, I hope you enjoyed this devotional today. If you have, share it with someone you know. Hit that like button, hit subscribe, and I'll see you right back here again tomorrow.